Donald Trump was not alone in his mistreatment by legacy media. In the 2019 Democratic primary debates, presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard had her face digitally altered on live television. NBC motion-tracked a fake blemish onto Gabbard's face, which would frequently vanish and reappear in real time.
Far more costly than anything that we ever saw in Iraq. It would take many more lives. It would exacerbate the refugee crisis.
Did anybody after the debates mention it to you that this strange thing seemed to happen?
No, I had no idea. You guys are clearly on it. When I saw it, I was like, that wasn't there. That wasn't there at all yesterday. And then to see it disappear was very strange.
Emergency dental. They think my tooth is cracked, which is why I'm having pain. And so, yeah. So that's where I was today. That's why things are a little bit behind today. And then tomorrow I have to go to the periodontist to see them. Then I have to go to the kidney guy. This is what happens when you turn 50. This is what happens. You start to have to see lots of medical people. And anyway, so here we are. Kurt is not here yet. Kurt was in San Diego this weekend. I'm curious to hear what his report, how everything went in San Diego at the American Comedy Club in San Diego. I'll see you the day after Thanksgiving in Burbank at Flappers Comedy Club. It's a Friday. It's going to be a fun show. So everybody's off on that day. So we'll see you there Friday, November 28th, I think is the date. Yeah. There's only a few tickets left in Australia. They wanted me to add third shows. Not happening. So that's it. So if you're in Australia, get your tickets now. What time is it in Australia? I don't think anybody watches us on the live stream in Australia, right? Oh, yeah? My phone. Hey, Steph, can you see if my phones are out there? Am I sitting on them? No.
10 a.m. in Sydney.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So maybe some people watch. Are they there? Oh, they're not. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about Snap. So that's the big thing. So spoiler alert, Trump is going to fund Snap, but not all the way, apparently. But here's what I think is interesting. This is what interests me about Snap. Snap is food stamps. So 29% of Americans are considered low income. And so that comes out to be 98 million people in America, or roughly around 30% of the population. 29, 30. Let's round up to 30. So think about that. So in America, 98 million people are low income. In America, the richest country in the world, 100 million people, almost a third of the country, is low income. Now, you also know that half the country can afford a $400 emergency. You know that, right? Okay. You also know that 70 to 80% of people in the United States live paycheck to paycheck. Again, this is, what do you call the richest country the world has ever known? What do you call a system that takes the richest country in the world, renders a third of its population low income, half of them unable to afford a $400 emergency, and 70 to 80% of them living paycheck to paycheck? What do you call that system? You call it a failed system. So to me, that's the bigger story here. It's also a big story that Trump was just going to let people not get their food stamps. And So like when you say people, so what you see a lot on social media is people say, oh, these are all immigrants, illegal immigrants, or these are all lazy people or something like that. Even though we know since 1971, workers have been getting the shaft ever since the Powell memo. So it used to be the more you produced, the more money you made. Well, workers are now producing this much and their pay had stayed flat. We all know that people can't afford houses. People can't afford seniors can't afford their medicine. We know this isn't because there are all of a sudden an explosion of lazy people in the country after the Powell memo. And the Powell memo is that corporations can run the country, which is what's happening. So SNAP serves 42 million people. So out of those 98 million people that are low income, 42 million of them, 42 million people get SNAP, get food stamps, or about 12% of the U.S. population. Roughly 2/3 of those people are children. So two-thirds, that's 67%, right? That's what 2/3 is? Mm-hmm. 67% of the people getting food stamps, getting SNAP, are children. You would think a society would make sure children got food. So so roughly 2/3 of the people, of those 42 million people, 2/3 of them are either children or adults over 60 or people who are disabled. So children, senior citizens, and disabled people. That's 2/3 of the people. Now, the rest of the people on there, lots of those people actually work. They just don't, in America, in the richest country in the world, they don't actually make enough money. They don't actually make enough money to pay for their food. So 1/3 are working age adults. So 2/3 of the people getting food stamps, SNAP, are not workers. They're not working age people. They're kids, they're children, or they're senior citizens. Or disabled, which leaves 1/3 of them that get food stamps in America between 18 and 59 years old. And employment among them varies. And lots of them work. So Trump says he's going to partially fund SNAP. So they found 2 judges that said that the president has to fund the food stamps, or the administration, the country. And so Trump's going to follow what the judges say. You know why? Because Trump isn't a king. He's not a dictator. He's a regular president, like every other regular president, who has to follow what the courts say. And guess what he's doing? He's going to follow what the courts say. 2 federal judges ruled on Friday that the administration had to fund the 61-year-old program and gave Trump until Monday, which was today, to submit a plan for how the U.S. Department of Agriculture planned to distribute funds. So the USDA, for some reason, are the ones who distribute the money for food stamps. It comes from the Department of Agriculture. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins said in Monday's filing that the U.S. Department of Agriculture is complying with the court's order and will fulfill its obligation to expend the full amount of SNAP contingency funds today. The filing noted that the changes states have to implement to roll out reduced benefits could take anywhere from a few weeks to several months. So there's going to be a delay in people getting their food stamps. That's what it sounds like to me. The Trump administration announced Monday that it plans to partially fund SNAP benefits, so like half, for the rest of November, but it's unclear what will happen after that. Food banks have sounded the alarm on increased demand at a time when they're already strapped, serving federal workers who haven't received a paycheck because of the government shutdown. Following the court order on Friday, Trump said it would be his honor to fund the food assistance program. In addition to the delay, the Trump administration also said it was $4 billion short of the expected $8 billion cost to fund SNAP, for the month of November. Hey, I know you just gave $40 billion to Argentina. Maybe you give Argentina $36 billion, and then you take the other $4 billion from Argentina. You give it to your own people in America who are hungry. Did that ever cross your mind? Isn't it amazing how you come up with $40 billion to send it to Argentina, but you can't come up with $4 billion to send to America? I've been saying this forever, and never was it more apparent than when they gave hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine while defunding our own country, which is what this is. So, in part because they are declining to tap, so they're not going to tap into an additional bucket, as ABC News puts it, an additional bucket of emergency funds held by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which runs SNAP. So they have the money there. They just don't want to tap into it. The Trump administration. Okay. The legal fight center on the administration's position that it couldn't fund SNAP with contingency money during the government shutdown. So they have contingency money for this, but Trump's administration was saying, no, we can't tap that during a government shutdown. Judges disagreed. Even though every previous administration, including Donald Trump in his first term, has used the contingency fund to fund SNAP. So let me read that to you again. Trump's administration said that it couldn't fund SNAP with contingency money during the government shutdown, even though every previous administration, including Trump in his first term, has done so. Okay. The administration determined that it can't fund SNAP using child nutrition funds, as doing so would wipe out that account. Instead, November SNAP benefits will be funded by the remaining $4.65 billion in contingency funds, which will cover 50% of eligible households. I have instructed our lawyers to ask the court to clarify how we can legally fund SNAP as soon as possible. So Trump is saying, okay, I've asked my lawyers, figure out how we can legally fund SNAP as soon as possible. That's what he's saying publicly. That's what Donald Trump is saying publicly.
Well, then it's as good as gold, Jimmy.
If we are given the appropriate legal direction by the court, it will be my honor to provide the funding. This means that no funds will remain for new SNAP applicants certified in November, disaster assistance, or a cushion against the potential catastrophic consequences of shutting down SNAP entirely. While the Trump administration could use additional funds from tariff revenue, known as Section 32, Penn said the government declined to do so to save the money for child nutrition programs. So apparently, we can't do both things. We can't fully fund child nutrition programs, and we can't fully feed the 42 million people who need food assistance in the United States. We can't do that, but we can give a couple of $100 billion to Ukraine. We can give, I don't know, it's over almost $40 billion now for Israel's slaughter of the Gazans.
Argentina.
We can give $40 billion to Argentina. All of this without debate, by the way. No debate on any of that money. So, by the way, this is how empires end. Just so you know, we're in late stage empire. Our empire is declining. We're continuing to run up debt, not to help our people, not to actually fund stuff for American citizens. We're not getting high-speed rail. We're not getting new schools or extra teachers. We're not getting infrastructure or health care that's affordable. We're not getting anything. We're not getting anything for this money. The money's going right into the pockets of weapons manufacturers or billionaires. So apparently we can't do both things in the richest country in the world. We can't fund child nutrition programs, and we can't feed our hungry people. Amid this no-win quandary, and upon further consideration following the court's orders, USDA has determined that creating a shortfall in child nutrition program funds to fund 1 month of SNAP benefits is an unacceptable risk. Why we can't do both, apparently.
Yeah.
Even
we also can't risk not killing all the kids in Gaza to make Israel feel extra safe. but we can also start. Yeah.
So even considering the procedural difficulties with delivering a partial November SNAP payment, because shifting $4 billion to America's SNAP population merely shifts the problem to millions of Americans' low-income children that receive their meals at school. So they're going to take away school lunches to pay for SNAP. That's what people are suggesting. They're saying we can't do both.
Oh, I hope we don't go communists, Jimmy.
So we can't give school lunches to poor kids, and we also can't give food stamps to poor people. We can't do both? No. But we can give $40 billion at the blink of an eye to Argentina. Why? Because one of Trump's donors has invested a lot of money in Argentina, and if Argentina goes belly up, he's going to lose billions of dollars.
We could screw our whole beef industry here. The thing that you would think the Republicans would be real
upset about
into saving. Yeah.
So that's exactly right. And the way we're also screwing over our cattle farmers and our soybean farmers to help Argentina. And
remember that chainsaw? Basically, he carved shit out of your
That's
take.
right. So when you saw Malay and Elon Musk with the chainsaws on stage, what they were chainsawing was money that you should be getting. But instead, they gave it to Argentina. That's what they were chainsawing. All this money that should be going to United States American citizens, we're going to send it to Argentina. So I just want to let everybody.
Things aren't talking about it. It's very upsetting.
So this is the part that I don't see anybody talking about. That 98 million people are low income. 42 million people in America get food stamps, and 2/3 of them, 67% of the people getting food stamps, are children or elderly or disabled. And people hate those people. And then the rest of those people, the third of the people who are of working age, lots of those people actually work. But they don't make enough money to buy food. So this is how empires end, just so you know. This isn't about lazy people. This is about our country being fleeced by the billionaire class. That's really what this is about. This is they got hundreds of billions to send at the drop of a dime to Ukraine, because most of that money goes right into the pockets of billionaires and donors. They got over almost $40 billion they could send to Israel since the October 7th. Most of that money goes into the pockets of weapons manufacturers and billionaires. They can send $40 billion to Argentina, because that money is going to go into the pockets of billionaire hedge fund people that prop up Donald Trump. Now you know the rest of the story. I hope you understand what this really means. This isn't about Democrats are assholes and want to give money to illegal immigrants. This is about the empire ending. This is how empires end. And your money is not worth what it was 5 minutes ago, let alone what it was worth last year. So when the government keeps printing trillions of dollars and people don't get raises, what that means is the money that they're earning is worth less. So just like we've been telling you since we've been having gold advertisers on our show, the dollar is worth less and less every minute of the day. Why? Because the government keeps printing $1 trillion every 100 days. And when there's more of something, it's less valuable. And so I've seen headlines that say the dollar is down 5% this year alone, which is like a 5% inflation. When you devalue the dollar, that's now you need more dollars to buy the same thing you did the day before. So this is, and by the way, the 1% getting wealthier and wealthier and wealthier. They're not working harder. The people who are working harder are the people who are on food stamps. The people who have 2 and 3 jobs. Those are the people who are working hard. I know lots of people like that. You want to terrorize a billionaire, tell him that you're going to force him to work an 8-hour shift at McDonald's. Okay. So there's what people don't want to tell you about what this snap thing means, and that by the way, Joe Biden also cut I think was it Obama or Joe Biden cut $9 billion from SNAP. So again, no matter who you vote for, you get John McCain. Barack Obama was not a socialist. Barack Obama was a tool of Wall Street and the military-industrial complex and Big Pharma, which is why he gave us Mitt Romney care, which is why he took us from 2 wars to 7, which is why he bailed out the banks when he kicked 5.1 million families out of their homes. That's who. So this idea that Republicans try to push that Barack Obama is a socialist, it's because they have to keep this game going that there's a left-right party. That there's left parties and right. There isn't. We have 2 right-wing parties. We have 2 corporate parties. I don't even like to call them right. They're 2 corporate parties. That's what it is. They all serve the same people, and which is why we end up fighting about bathrooms, and we're not fighting about funding Ukraine, or fighting about funding Israel, or fighting about funding Argentina, or fighting about funding the 1,000 military bases the United States has around the world. So that's what we're fighting about. We're not fighting about people can't afford their health insurance premiums. How their health insurance premiums are now bigger than their mortgages, and most people can't even afford a mortgage. So we're not talking about any of that. We're talking about bathrooms. We're talking about trans issues. What other stupid shit we're talking about now?
Jimmy, I saw the leftist shoot Charlie Kirk, and I hate the left and the left.
Oh yeah, leftists killed Charlie Kirk, and
what comedians say? What comedians have the right?
Yeah. What did Joe Rogan say?
Yeah.
Joe Rogan didn't do any of this. Okay. All right. If you like to hear my jokes about this, come see me a day after Thanksgiving in Burbank, California. It's a Friday. Everybody's off. Then we'll see you in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, December 6th. Waikiki, Hawaii. We'll be there January 11th in Waikiki. Okay. Over to Steph.
All right. Thank you, Jimmy. Hey, say it with me, Jimmy. I'm too young to be too old for this shit. All right. Vienticus. You know that 44% of the disabled are disabled because of obesity and related illnesses. Maybe these folks would benefit if they got off state-mandated gorging. Ever saw vids of what they buy?
What do you have to say about the 2/3 of the people on food stamps? So again, it's fat lazy people. Again, I just did a fucking 20-minute. I just did a 20-minute segment about how we're in a late stage empire, and how the economics, all the wealth is being sucked upward. And there we have someone paying for us to read their opinion. And their opinion is, people are fat. That's the problem. People are too fat.
If they have jobs, those fatsos. Have you been to America? What are you talking about?
I know.
America's a country of fat fucks that have jobs.
So let's address the 2/3 of which are children and the elderly and disabled. Anyway.
All right.
That's just wild. That's wild that someone who thinks like that can watch this segment I just did and then pay to have a comment like that read on air. You're
not loyal to MAGA.
That is mind-boggling. Yeah, you're right. I am not loyal.
You're not loyal to Trump.
I'm not loyal to Trump. You are correct.
All right, here we go. So when will the superior aliens come and save the American empire? So they're not going to. Hey, Jimmy, are you planning to invite friend of the show, Katie Porter, anytime soon?
Yes.
That's a good one there, CP. Unvaccinated guy. Thank you, unvaccinated guy.
Is there any Scott Adams joke? Yeah, I got him.
So it was foretold in the History of World Part 1 that there will be Jews in space. Thank you. Hey, duly noted. Jimmy, scientists at King's College London, discovered keratin produces a protective coating that mimics the structure and function of the natural enamel when it comes into contact with minerals in saliva. All right, that's from duly noted.
What is it?
He says, hold on, let me stop that one. King's College discovered keratin produces a protective coating that mimics the structure and function of natural enamel when it comes in contact with minerals in saliva. Keratin produces a protective coating.
That's hard to follow. And what does that mean?
All right, but that's from duly noted. We duly noted. Hey, Anton. Thank you, Anton. Russian mini nuke power missile is game changer. Imagine using the mini nuke engine to run supercomputer AI, which takes much power. Unvaccinated guy. That's interesting. Kenneth says, oh, Kenneth, hold on. Big gong coming your way, baby. Elimination of SNAP program reminds me of the elimination of food distribution centers in Gaza. Israel has been such a good teacher for America. This is how you starve people. Remember, what we allow to happen around the world is going to happen right here in our country.
That's right.
Back to Jimmy.